Well, we had a couple of J Google questions here. I'll just take the second one first because it is the Luke Voit question.
Yeah.
Paul asking, is Luke Voit going to stay on the roster the whole year?
No. He, he's not. He has no positional versatility, and he's not hitting, and he's 32. And while he has some history of occasional power, sometimes during the COVID season, sometimes when he's getting uh, not protected because he has, as we'll I'm sure mention, of course he has reverse platoon splits for his whole career because he's a big weirdo. But like he's an easy drop off. It doesn't cost that much, and if you're going to replace a guy with some offense from AAA, he's the easy one to take off. Like you don't need to keep Luke Voit around. It's just not something that needs to happen. So no, he's not going to be like Keston Hiura is like begging to be up in this position. Like, oh, you got a guy who's supposed to be able to hit and can't play defense at all. Like we have that at home, and he cleared waivers and he can come up anytime. So yeah, he's the in the most tenuous position on the team, and he's an old guy who's not good at anything. So yeah, he's probably gone soon.
Yeah, I mean the issue is like you're going to need something to replace him with, and right now there isn't.
You got that? It
like
exists.
Well, no, Keston Hiura. We've seen this movie with Keston Hiura before. He's not an upgrade on Luke Voit.
He is absolutely an upgrade on Luke Voit.
No, not. I mean, not by comparison. Like, if what you want is somebody to hit left-handed pitching, Luke Voit is considerably better than Keston Hiura by over 100 points of career OPS. So, if you want somebody to hit left-handed pitching, it's Voit over Hiura, because Voit has reverse platoon splits. Hiura has insane reverse platoon splits that are just inexplicable and make no sense. So
I'd settle for a guy who can hit anything at all.
Right, but I mean the thing here is if you bring up Hiura, he's so much better against right-handed pitching. And I was talking about this on Twitter this week. You don't have any place for him to play against righties. You're not going to bench Rowdy for him. You're not going to bench Winker, not at this point. You're not going to bench Yelich. Like
you can do some of that.
but really,
nothing that you just said is actually something that should be written in stone at all. Most of those guys can probably use some time on the bench. They're all bad at offense. Not Rowdy. The other ones, though.
Well,
Winker
hasn't. Yeah, Winker is the issue with Winker. Like he has not started to hit for power yet, and that's concerning until we like actually see it. His Statcast numbers, I was looking at those this week, are not great. The problem is that we've seen this over and over from Hiura. He always hits the hell out of the ball in AAA. He always does.
Yeah, he does.
And then he comes up to the big leagues and is really mediocre since 2019.
So last year he struck out a lot, but he was actually not bad. He was okay. He had a 115 OPS plus.
He was okay in weird playing time situation.
I object to the notion that it's important to keep Luke Voit around against lefties, against his weak platoon side, because that is not making any difference at all to their wins and losses. And if Keston still sucks against opposite side pitching, which he probably will because he's a Brewer, I don't care. He can still play against righties better, and that's enough. Like nobody's good against lefties. Luke Voit is not good against lefties. Get him off the team. He's not useful at all. Keston might be. He was last year against the aggregate. So do that. I don't need that guy hanging around. He's bad.
Okay, but here's the thing. So Voit doesn't need to be on the roster. It's just that Hiura is not a better alternative than him for the role that they have for him.
Any random person is also fine with me. I'm also good with that.
I mean, Voit is better than any random person. He's a lot better than any random person.
He's not better than Hiura, and so
he is in the role that they have for him. He's going to whoever is in that role is largely going to be hitting against left-handed pitchers, and that's the role they're going to be inhabiting. So if you bring up Hiura, he's more than 100 points worse than Voit in career OPS against lefties. So like he's worse than Voit at what the role is calling for them to do.
That's a dumb role to have Luke Voit in.
But okay, that's fine. But like that's the reality.
Luke Voit's not playing just against lefties. Like that's not what's happening.
No, he is. He's mostly starting against lefties. He very seldom starts against a righty. He's very, very rarely starting against righty. It's just he's been starting a lot this week because the Brewers on this road trip just saw four lefty starters.
Coming into the game, he has more plate appearances against righties than lefties.
Well, that had been because they had really not been playing many lefties. It was like this road trip that he started seeing more action and was starting a lot because they had just started seeing those guys. Like, they don't have as many starts against left-handed starters. They just haven't seen that many lefties, even though it feels like a lot because we see them all. Every time we see one, it's like the offense disappears. So, but that's the next question. We should probably get there.
Hold on a second. I'm triple checking that I'm on this year's splits right now for Luke Voit. And yeah, you shouldn't use this year's splits to determine anything. But you know what Luke Voit's hitting against left-handed pitching this year?
Yeah, it's miserable.
Do you know what it actually is?
Yeah, he has a 143 OPS.
Yeah, so I think it's important to say the whole slash line actually.
71, 71, 71.
Yeah, it's 0.071, 0.071, 0.071.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And it's like 2 singles.
It's 28 plate appearances.
Yes. It's 2 singles, and no walks in 28 plate appearances.
It's
and
20,
16 strikeouts.
Yeah,
in 28 plate appearances.
It's really bad. And like and then you look at his career numbers against lefties, and it's he has hit righties better than he has hit lefties, but his career splits against lefties, he has a 734 OPS against lefties. What do you think Keston Hiura's is? 734 for Voit.
Probably like 563.
I think it's in the 6s, but
I don't have it open.
I'm pulling it up right now. So
right.
it is. So what did I say? 734 for Voit. I looked at this. That's why I said I knew it was over 100 points. But Keston,
it's 606 for Keston.
606. So you're talking about 130 point career split in terms of Voit being better against lefties, which is the role they are largely going to inhabit on this roster. For the most part, like that's what whoever is in this spot, and I guess this is the point I really should make is, and we're going to get into this in the next question. What they lack on this roster is a true, other than Contreras, what they lack on this roster is a true like lefty murderer. They need a guy who maybe he can't do anything else. He can't play defense. He can't do anything else. But if he can put up like a 950 OPS against lefty pitchers, that guy would be wonderful to put in the middle of this lineup. And like Mike Brosseau is kind of that guy. Mike Brosseau has really good splits, and he's been dreadful against lefties so far. And that's actually a big part of what's going on here is like their lefty mashers, the guy that they brought in to be the right-handed bats that would face against lefties, like Voit, like Brosseau, have both had really bad starts against lefties. Like they're off to awful starts.
I mean, it has to be a thing. I don't even think you can bring on a lefty masher. He'll just turn into a righty masher instantly.
It's just like it's the curse of the Brewers. As soon as they hit the roster,
I think it's a curse. I bet it's something they're doing coaching wise. Like it's probably why they haven't fixed Yelich yet. Like just not telling people to. It's consistent
also have
with
a question
the
about
symptoms.
that.
So
yeah,
like. By the way, Luke Voit also is in the 8% of sprint speed in baseball, and here is 54. So that also helps a little bit when you get on base.
8th percentile is actually a lot higher than I would have expected.
He seems like
a
he should be in the
size.
first or second. That is definitely true, but he's in the 8th, so he's still not going to be stealing any bases, and this is base steal year. So if you get on base, it's nice.